What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Video Nasties. Today we are covering Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker, or Night Warning, as the alternate title says. If you guys are watching over on Retro Horrors channel, I'm Dan from Reject Films.
And if you're watching on Dan's channel, I'm Wayne from Retro Horrors, my channel.
All right, so this film was from 1980. What is this? 87?
Well, it's 80. It was 81.
81. Oh, I was way off.
It had a release. Yeah, it had a release in Oregon in 80. This is another one of those films that had like a limited release in late 81 and then a full-blown release across the country in 82. So I kind of consider it an 82 film.
Yeah, I didn't even remember what IMDb had it listed as. I think it had it as 81, right?
80. Yeah, it had it at 80. Well, it like I say, it did have a release, but it was in Oregon like in October of 81. So.
Yeah, I don't know if we came across this before. You know, when we do our movies from that year, it's a little tricky sometimes.
Right.
As usual, guys, I'll start out with letting Wayne give you guys a brief synopsis of the film, and then we'll give you our overall thoughts. And I don't believe this one was actually a video nasty, though, technically, right? They just took it along with other ones that were being
I think it was a section 2. It was on the list, but it wasn't successfully prosecuted. So I think it was part of the 72, the original 72. We can check that. Anyway, so I guess we're rolling into the synopsis. I've got the cover work changed out to Night Warning, even though that's really a title that gives it's a terrible generic title. But I do now looking at it, I do kind of like the cover art for the Night Warning side. This is a Code Red release. This film stars 70s child star Jimmy Mcnichol. For those of you that don't remember Jimmy Mcnichol, you may remember his sister, Christy Mcnichol, better. She was a huge child star in the 70s, along with her brother. Of course, she was in the film I keep pushing you to watch, White Dog. She was fantastic in that. But anyway, Jimmy Mcnichol plays Billy, and he's an orphaned teen who we get it right off the get-go. A classic kill scene with the parents getting impaled by this logging truck. And so he's orphaned and he's staying with his aunt Cheryl. And Aunt Cheryl's played by Susan Terrell. Susan Terrell's was just a tour de force in this film. So Jimmy is a high school basketball star. He's got a girlfriend named Julie, and he's getting ready to go to college. But his aunt is very clingy, strangely too clingy, and is like trying to keep him from going to college. And that's kind of the setup. But without going into too much spoiler territory, that's the setup of the film.
Well, I think we can kind of say what catapults the film into the other direction is there's a murder that takes place.
Yeah,
that's really what gets the film going.
Well, Aunt Cheryl is horny as hell, and besides her other issues, she's horny as hell, and she ends up like accosting this cable TV guy, and the cable TV guy spurns her advances, and she ends up stabbing him to death, and that's what starts like this downward spiral of murders.
Right. Yeah, she doesn't take rejection very well. And just real quick, guys, I apologize if there's some audio issues at the beginning. I didn't have my headphones actually connected to this, so if there's some audio issues there at the beginning, it's my fault. Anyways, she really loses her shit in this movie. And from looking at her filmography, it doesn't seem like she did a lot of like horror-esque type films. Am I wrong on that, or?
No, she didn't. She's most famous for Fat City, which is a John Huston movie that she was in. That she plays Stacy. I think Stacy Keach's girlfriend. She won an Academy Award for that, or she was nominated. I don't know if she won it, but she got an Academy Award. She is a very interesting actress. She it's interesting. She had a real life tragedy where she had some blood disease later in life and ended up having both her legs amputated, like in the two.
Yeah. I noticed in the features that she was putting like her leg back on or something in that interview, and I didn't know why. I didn't really look into it, but yeah,
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Um, but you know, this is an interesting role because she plays kind of an Oedipus, the story of Oedipus, the mother's son, you know, that incestuous type deal going on. And in her real life, I can see she's kind of reminds me a little bit of Klaus Kinski in that she really threw herself into this performance. You got to admit, man, whether you like the film or not, she was fantastic in this.
Yeah. Do you know if she was a method actress or anything?
No, that's the point I was getting to. She said in a later comments about kind of life, she said, I'm antisocial. And she said that I really just want to avoid people in general. She was very, towards the end, very antisocial. She just thought the world was shit, and she really wanted to avoid any people in general. And I think that attitude, if that's the kind of attitude she had throughout her life, you could see that easily manifesting itself in her performance in this role because she threw herself into this. It was at the same time that she's gone absolutely bonkers, you know, killing people. You kind of have this bizarre sympathy for her. At least I did. I thought she's obviously mentally ill, seriously mentally ill.
And you definitely get some incestual vibes going on too, like when she wakes Billy up from, you know, his sleep or whatever, and she's kind of like, I don't know, it just felt really uncomfortable there.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, this film hits all the social mores of the time that even like today you would not see this kind of film being made. It would just it would be slammed. The social justice words would be all over this film. But the irony of this is that the writers of this film, and I guess we'll talk about this now. The film is one of the few early films in the early '80s to cover the gay character. I mean, you had Nightmare on Elm Street 2, obviously, which was gay themed, but this had a male gay lead, who kind of he's a basketball coach, but he's actually kind of the final girl, if you will, to put it low. But
and one of the guys that worked on it is openly gay as well. I forget who it was.
That's the irony. You know, if you showed this to the social justice warriors today and didn't tell them anything about it, I'm sure they'd say this needs to be banned, like Gone with the Wind. You know, they're going after Gone with the Wind. But the reality is, the irony is that the writer of this thing was gay. I mean,
right.
Or the producer, one of them. I mean, there was, and they were trying to obviously promote their own sexual orientation in a way that's probably offensive to most people today. It would be, you know, when you throw Bo Svensson in there as the cop that's calling people fags and gays and shit like that. I mean, it would just never fly today. But it was written by a gay guy. I mean, it's just the irony of that is pretty interesting.
I mean, most movies from the 80s and even 90s wouldn't fly today. I mean, you got to be so politically correct in everything you do. Nowadays, you know, and that's why I love films from 70s, 80s, 90s. You know, you didn't have all that. People were just people. They said what they need to say, and
same here.
A big deal. I mean, now it's like you watch movies and they just suck, man. Today's movies are not good.
Well, today's movies are pandering to the masses, and you can't. You know, I learned this long time in life. You cannot please everyone. Right. And I think sometimes today's movies are trying to like cover all the bases, you know, make sure there's equality of characters and racially diverse and no one's offended and all that. I mean, you just can't cover all these bases. It's just, it's not possible.
Like I just did that review for the new Wrong Turn movie. I know this is off track, but you know, they had to shove it in your face. Here, we have a gay couple. We have an interracial couple. We have this. They have to make it knowing
Yeah,
to the audience that, hey, we're being politically correct. It ended up being an actually decent movie, but still, like, we get it. You know, you don't
yeah.
have to
We
make it bluntly obvious.
every show now is that is
Yeah,
you got interracial couples, and I don't have anything against any of that. I'm just
right.
suggesting that we've gone so far into political correctness that we're not even portraying real life in some cases.
Yeah, but yeah, I think who was the guy that played the detective again? What was
Bose
his name?
Fenton, Bose Fenton's one of my favorite actors.
Man,
If you
yeah, he
get
was from Walking Tall, right?
absolutely Walking Tall, man, I saw Walking Tall 1 and 2 in the drive-in in the '70s, and I was just at that point I was a Bose Fenton fan. I think he is fantastic. He is
Yeah,
just
I've
great.
seen a few episodes of it of the old show and stuff, but I don't think I've seen the movies
Oh
because it was a
man,
TV series too, right?
yeah. Well, there's a double feature. It's in my drama section, but you gotta check out. I think it's real cheap. Go to Amazon, pick up Walking Tall 1 and 2. Man, you do yourself a favor.
I was
Awesome.
like, I don't know who this guy really is, but man, he is good. Like his
Yeah,
deliveries of the lines and everything, his stature, just I mean, he's a big hawking guy too, you know. And
he's like 6'6".
right,
He
yeah,
was also
he
in.
did great.
He was in Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah,
And
and I seen he made a cameo in the new one or something, right?
yeah, and he was in Kill Bill. He's been in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Jimmy McNichol's an interesting dude. You know, he went on to. I think he sells real estate in Colorado now. I think he kind of dropped out of movies, and of course, mainly. Oh shit! I got hiccups coming, but mainly he was a child star. He and his sister Christy.
And he's the one that played Billy. Is that?
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
Billy. But the interesting thing about there's so much interesting things background wise with this film. The original the original person that was going out for the role of Billy was Bill Paxton, and he ended up with a minor role as kind of like the bully basketball player that Billy gets in a fight with.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when I saw Bill Paxton's name on the credits of the cover of this movie, and then come to find out he's has a very small role. But and
Yeah,
I know they were looking at other people for her role as well, like Daryl Hannah and some others that ended up having great careers.
yeah. The girlfriend Julie, I think, Daryl Hannah and uh,
Yeah, I have drawn a blank on the other one too.
shit,
uh,
who's the other one? Daryl Hannah and somebody else. Somebody else did the tried out for the role. That was big time back in the '80s.
mhm.
I'll think of it in a second. But the girl that actually the girl that played Julie was like 30 years old. I mean, I didn't know that watching it. I think I bought the fact that she was like in high school, but she was 30 years old when she did that.
Mhm. But hey, this movie isn't what I thought it was going to be though. Like this is my first time watching it, and going by the title, that's like a really awesome extreme title, and I thought it was going to be a lot more of a slasher and a lot more gory than it was and everything, and
Right.
kind of cheesy. And this was actually a really well made, well acted film that. And you really cared about every character in here too, and that's pretty rare with movies from that time period that are horror movies. Usually there's no character development and stuff like that, but this was actually, I think this is more of a psychological drama than a horror film.
Yeah, I mean, it gets down to Susan Terrell's performance. It's a tour de force. She delivers like a complex physical and emotional tour de force. I mean, you at the same time you loathe her, you also have some sympathy for her. So she covered all the bases in this one, and she was totally believable when she snaps. Totally believable.
And the detective the whole time just not wanting to believe what happened, him just drilling into Billy's mind that no, it's because you're gay and this is what happened. He was set in his mind this whole time that
Yeah.
he
Well,
didn't want to know the truth. He made his own truth.
I mean, the reality is he was just connecting some very obvious dots, which cops are apparently able to do. Here you've got a gay TV repairman who's connected to a gay basketball coach who coaches Billy, who's in the house where it happens. I mean, so he's just connecting a bunch of obvious dots.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil everything for anyone who hasn't seen it, but even the very end, like what happens with the detective, I'm just kind of like, why though? I don't know. I don't know why it had to go to where it went at the end there.
I don't know.
I'm trying not to spoil everything, but
yeah, I mean, I guess it was just a kind of a good, it was probably just for the kills too. But there was definitely an axe to grind with the Bo Svensson character. I mean, probably Billy had a lot of hatred towards him.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I can't recommend this movie enough. I mean, I think it's great, and I'm glad it got a re-release too, a repressing from Code Red, because I know it was out of print for a while, and the price went up to like $70-$80, and then finally they re-released it. So now it's pretty easily obtainable again. But yeah, I would highly recommend purchasing this and adding it to the collection.
Yeah, I agree. The tagline for this was hilarious because it's along with Night Warning, which tells you nothing, right? The tagline is, they didn't go looking for trouble, they were just too curious. Now they know too much to live. That was that. I mean, that kind of a tagline is that. That's like,
and for one, it's too long.
It's too long. Yeah, it's just like, man, who thought of this stuff? It was just terrible marketing. I don't know whoever, the distributor or somebody that did the marketing on this, just shot themselves in the foot, I think.
Saying before we started actually recording, this thing had like 6 total different names or something while it was in production. They kept trying to come up with.
Yeah, Mama's Boy is a title. Nightmare Maker is a title. Of course, Night Warning, right? I mean, there's at least 6 different titles this thing had.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall we both really highly recommend this one if you guys haven't seen it, for sure. It's not a real gory film. I think the one kill that you already mentioned with the TV repair guy was pretty gory, especially afterwards when people kept touching shit and getting it on each other. Yeah. And we didn't mention her little neighbor either. What'd you think of her little neighbor friend there being all nosy?
Yeah, well, she got what's coming to her.
One of my favorite scenes in here too was the little mud puddle scene too, and listening to that interview with her, they were really like down in there doing that shit too. They were like really,
they were scrapping. They were scrapping, and I think it's a tribute to Susan Tyrrell. She just threw herself into this role, but at least from a mentality standpoint, knowing kind of the comments she made later towards life, you could see how easily she could have thrown herself into this. She had a lot of demons, it seems like.
Yeah, I can tell she was a really weird, strange person in that interview, man. Like she's something else. Well, yeah. Was. I mean, she passed away shortly after they did that interview, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like 2012 or something.
Yeah, 2012. The director, William Asher, was not the original director. I don't know if you knew that. Michael Miller was the original director, but apparently he was too slow, and they booted him off the film. William Asher is mainly known for TV. Like I think he did Green Acres. He was like a TV guy. Not a whole lot in terms of movies.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot with some of these one-off 80s movies where there's no sequels or anything. Like we were talking before the recording as well, that I just watched Neon Maniacs, and that director only did that in like one other film and then went to like cinematography. There's a lot of like one-off directors in the 80s that just kind of dip their hands in it and see if that's what they want to do, or just do it to get a start in film, or do it because, various reasons.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue was with Miller, because he directed Jackson County Jail. He worked for Roger Corman, so in terms of speed. I mean, you can't come out of a training camp that puts more emphasis on getting things done quickly than Roger Corman's. I don't know what happened. I mean, as far as him getting booted, but it's interesting that he ended up only like directing like one scene of the film.
Yeah. I don't really have much else on this one, besides recommending it. My only issue with this disc was the sound. There was like a popping throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, the sound quality was questionable. As far as their overall the release, I think it's a great release. It's got 2 commentary tracks. One with I think it's Bill from Code Red interviewing Jimmy McNichol in one of the tracks. And then
interviews.
You got a series of interviews. Yeah, so it's a nice loaded release. I definitely recommend it. I overall I give it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a solid film.
Yeah. Of course, I already gave mine. You know, I say buy it. Mine's buy, stream, or avoid. So yeah, I think it's worth adding to the collection. Even if you're not, if you're not a horror fan, I doubt you're watching this video. But even if you're not big into horror, this is definitely a film for film fans. I mean, just like you mentioned countless times, her portrayal in this is just worthy of an Academy Award, man. It's
right up there with Betty Davis. Whatever happened to Baby Jane type stuff. I mean, it's if you like those type of movies, that this is going to be one for you. You got to get on this one.
Yeah. And it's sad that he didn't go on to do much acting. The guy that played Billy. I know he was talking in the interview about getting into music and trying to do some other stuff and everything. But I mean, sometimes they do it and they just don't like it. I mean,
yeah,
they just want to pursue other things. But yeah, he seemed like a cool guy though in that interview. I mean, he seemed
yeah, he's a pretty cool guy, but apparently real estate was his thing. I think his dad was in real estate, and his dad coerced him into getting into real estate, and that's kind of how he dropped out of the acting profession.
Yeah, again, guys, we try not to make these too long, keep them around 20 minutes or, between 20 and 30 minutes. So I don't really have many other thoughts unless you do.
No, we got to pick next film. You want to do that?
Well, we can go back to the film that we picked, but I was awaiting on arrival.
All right, what's that?
You don't remember what that one was?
Well, you got so many that
it was when you did the randomized thing and it picked it. I think the first episode.
Is that the orgy?
Yeah, Gestapo's Last Orgy or
Gestapo's Last Orgy. All right.
Yeah, sure. Why don't we do that? Because that just sounds like it's going to be great. I have no idea what I'm getting into.
Well, it's Nazi exploitation.
Which I've never seen one of. So
yeah, it's kind of the chicks in chains, Nazi exploitation type stuff. Women in prison. One of them.
And I think all there is the Severin DVD. Is there another release?
Not that I'm aware of. No, yeah. I think that's it.
I guess that's what we're both watching. All right. Well, comment down below, guys, if you guys have seen this movie, what you guys think of it, what you guys think of this series, all that good stuff. If you guys have any recommendations for the next one that we haven't covered, we're definitely open to that as well. Letting you guys pick the next one, that'd be fun. If you guys know it's easy to look up what the video nasties are. There's 72, films there. And if we both have it, then we can definitely do something. But that's what I got.
We'll never get bored with this because there's section 3s too.
Yeah. And of course, we both always have side projects as well on our own channels, our own things going on. But so check out Retro's new Criterion reviews, right? And you're back to the Jess Francos. So
when I can find them, I've done 50 some reviews of Franco, so I'm running out of stuff to review. But I'll be doing another Criterion soon.
Yeah, but I saw in the comments a lot of people were glad to see you back doing the Francos. So that's good.
Yeah, I'll do another one. I probably should dig out. I got to find one to watch. But well, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.